Hello, beautiful children of China. It's your teacher, Timothy. It's time to get the cobwebs out of your mind, to learn something new. Just me and you. And where? George. There's George. He's going to be here too. And our candle is here too, which makes me happy to have a candle, something beautiful in the picture. Now remember, if you have matches like this, talk to your mom or your dad, your grandma or your grandpa, an uncle or aunt, a grown-up, a neighbor to help you because they can be dangerous. They're also very beautiful. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Nothing. 1, 2, 3. Today we're going to talk a lot about writing different ways, a little bit of grammar, nouns and verbs and capitalizing and proper nouns and all of these things we're going to talk about is so very important when you're learning a language. At the beginning, we're going to just talk about at the very end of the writing process, when you're ready to publish, something, when you're going to publish something, publish. What does that mean anyway? It means the last part. You've already thought of something, you've written it out, you've corrected it, you've added to it, you've edited it, and finally you're going to write it up in a way that is ready to show the world, to show people. Maybe you just show your teacher. Maybe you put it online. It goes around on the internet so that it should be looking the best that it can look. And that is when you're getting it ready to be published. So let's talk about some of these things here today. What does it mean? To make your final copy. When you publish, you make a neat final copy of your writing. Here is what Emma does to publish her writing. First of all, she skips the first line and she leaves room for the title, doesn't she? That's a good plan. And then she indents. To indent, it means that she indents her first sentence. This means she leaves an extra space at the beginning of her first line. Now, I'll show you coming up what it looks like. And then she copies the rest of her corrected sentences in paragraph form. So this is publishing. This is the very end of her writing. So let's see here is not the end. This is not the one she's going to publish. This is the thing that she corrected. Here is, and then she's going to make it beautiful and publish it. Let's see what it looks like. Here it is. Look. So to publish it, they're saying leave this top line empty. Nothing is there. And then indent right here. You start in there. And you start writing, and you start with a capital, don't we? Put a capital at the beginning, and we have an end point at the end of each sentence. A capital at the beginning, and an end point at the end of each sentence. A period, or an exclamation, or a question mark. There's a capital next at the beginning of each sentence, and an end point at the end, and then a capital. And look at how neatly Emma has written. All the capitals and end points. She has written that so beautifully, it looks good. So here it is again. To write your paragraph, skip the first writing line, indent your first sentence, copy your corrected sentences in paragraph form. Then publish it by sharing your writing. When you publish, you share your writing. Add the title and a drawing. So they think it's a good idea now, finally, because we left this open, didn't we? To add your title up here, because we left that open, and hers is called Make Green Paint. And then she actually added a little drawing to make it interesting. Here are the two kinds of paints that she mixes together to make green paint. Blue paint, right? We talked about this. And yellow paint will make green paint. So that's kind of cool. She made a cool drawing to show it, and it makes it more interesting to look at. And then she has written about the paints here. If you want to read that out loud, with me. Go ahead. Here we go. Make green paint. You can make green paint. Oh, yes. First, get yellow paint and blue paint. Then use a paintbrush to mix both of the paints together. Now, the two colors make green paint. Wow. So that's what she wrote. That's what she published. And then read your how-to paragraph to someone. Emma, reflecting on your writing. So she's going to go back and look at her writing and think about it. So she knows where her strengths are and her weaknesses. Emma thinks about her writing. She tells how she feels about her how-to paragraph. First of all, thinking about your writing. Number one, I picked this topic because. Well, she picked it because I like to paint pictures. That's why. So she answered that. Number two, the best thing about my writing is, and she answered, my steps are in the correct order. So she's a very logical writer, and that is good. And then she reflects and says, think about your writing. On your own paper, finish the 2 sentences above. So if you're writing a published thing now, and then you, at the end of it, think about your writing. You don't have to write something. You could just think about what you like to write, and then what your strengths are, the best thing about your writing. Maybe one of the best things about your writing is that you're creative, or that you use really good adjectives, or maybe you choose good subjects. And then choose a topic and say why you're interested. So across the curriculum, when you're writing about different disciplines like math or social studies, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Across the curriculum, you may be asked to do expository writing, that's a big word, for different school subjects. You share information about what you learn. First of all, with math, Tyler writes about a math problem. He draws a picture. It helps him explain addition. He draws the picture of 2 dots, 3 dots, and then that equals 5 dots. And then he writes about it, adding numbers. You can add 2 plus 3. First, draw dots. Make a set of 2 dots, then make a set of 3 dots. Finally, count all of the dots, make 5 dots. You can see that 2 plus 3 equals 5. Oh, that was good, Tyler. Now, if you're going to write in math and social studies, writing in social studies. Now, social studies is studying people, right? Maya learns about the Havasupai Indian tribe. Havasupai, Indian tribe. They live in Arizona. She writes a paragraph about them. Let's see what she writes. Collar makers. Indian tribes live in Arizona. One tribe lives at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. They are the people of the blue and green waters. They make collars with tiny beads. Can you guess what color beads they like to use? Well, let's see. Can you guess what color beads they like to use? She mentions 2 colors up there, blue and green. Maybe that's what they do. Writing for assessment. Here's another way of writing. Alano's teacher gives him an expository prompt to write about. Alano reads the prompts and makes a cluster and writes a paragraph. In a paragraph, explain something new that you've learned. That's the writing prompt. Say something new. Alano's cluster, he collecting coins is something new, and then the different parts of collecting coins, the new coins, comes from many countries. Old coins, silver, gold, and copper. Alano writes about it. Coins. This is his final published piece, right? And remember, each of these has a title at the top and then an indentation, right, to indent. And then really very neatly written. Coins. Collecting coins is an interesting hobby. Coins can be silver, gold, or copper. They come from many countries. Some coins are very old. It is easier to find new coins. So here he is with his coins. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about nouns. Who remembers what a noun is? It says right here, a common noun names any person, place, or thing. Did you hear that? Person, place, or thing. A proper noun names a special person, a special place, or a special thing. It begins with a capital letter. So a common noun is just like dog. But if you have a dog named Huckleberry, it's a proper noun, and then you put a capital at the beginning, right? So let's talk about common nouns and proper nouns. Here's a boy. Here's a boy whose name is Frank. So then they capitalize it. Here's a river. Which river is this? The Ohio River. So both of those get capitalized, right? Here's a book. Here's a specific book named the Zoo Book, and they capitalize each letter in the title. Grammar practice. Read the words below. Tell if the word is a common noun or a proper noun. Here's an example. Lake, Frog Lake. Can you tell which is common and which is proper? So let's look at these now together. The first word is family. And here's Watson's. That's the name of a family. Which one is common? This one. Which one is proper? The other one. So the next one, sister and Susan. Which one is proper? The one with capital, right? You can tell right there. Why? Because it has a capital letter. That's the proper noun. And which one with Pacific Ocean and just ocean is the proper noun? Pacific Ocean is capitalized. So we talked about proper and common nouns. The first one, we circled the common noun, and the other two, we circled the proper nouns. Using parts of speech. The words that you see in your writing are called the parts of speech. Nouns are a part of speech. A noun is a word that names what? A person, a place, or a thing. Boy, nurse. That's person. Place, home, or school. Those are places. Thing, a chair, or a book or a chair. A common noun names any person, any place, anything. A proper noun, remember, names a specific person, place, or thing. So here are some common nouns over here, girl and school. Here are some proper nouns. This is the name of the girl and the name of the school, Julia and Grant School. So at your house, what's your name? Are you a boy or are you a girl? I'm a man. So that would be a common noun. But my name is Timothy. That's my proper noun with a capital, right? Also, capital letters. Use a capital letter for names of people and places. Those are proper nouns. So here's the name Rosa Parks. We capitalize both of her names. Here's the name of the state Texas. We capitalize that. Use a capital letter for name titles like Dr. Seuss, Mrs. Cooper, Ms. Lim, Mr. Ford. So name titles here at the beginning of the name, Dr., Mrs., Ms., Mr. And now, you know, most women prefer to just use Ms. and not to use this anymore. They don't use Mrs. very much anymore or in the US. Use capital letters for book titles. Here's a book title, My Five Senses, and the whole thing is capitalized. Use capital letters for holidays. New Year's Day, every one of those words is capitalized. Thanksgiving, Labor Day, Flag Day. Yeah, different days that we have in the United States. You probably have different days in China. I'm sure you have New Year's coming up here in the spring. Using the right word. Some words sound alike, but they are spelled differently and mean different things. These words are called homophones. So that's a really good point. These are so cool. Homophones sound the same, they mean different things, and they're spelled differently. Steve ate crackers for a snack. I have 8 blocks. So those two words actually sound exactly the same, but they mean different things and they're spelled differently. Homophones. Let's find some more homophones. The wind blew my kite. The blue pants are too small. So those two words sound the same. The wind blew my kite. My blue pants are too small, but they're spelled differently and they mean different things. This is the color blue down here, and this is the wind up here that blows. It blew. Now here's the word buy. This word buy means to buy something at the store. This one is to go past. The girls buy seeds at the store. I live by the park. That means near the park. Past or near. Here are the two words dear, and they're spelled differently. I wrote dear Nana. That means somebody that's close to your heart. Dear person. I saw a deer in the woods. A deer is an animal, right? Homophones. Understanding sentences. A sentence tells a complete idea and has two parts. The naming part and the telling part. Marco is the naming part. Runs is the telling part, what Marco is doing. So we put it together and you have a sentence. Marco runs. Let's try this. Ty and I. Those are two names. That's the naming part. Play ball. That tells what they're doing. You put it together. Ty and I play ball. A sentence begins with a capital letter. We know that. It ends with a period, a question mark, or a funk exclamation point. Here's a capital letter. The boys play basketball. Boop. Does Paulo want to play too? Question mark. Do you hear how I went up at the end? Does Paulo want to play too? That means a question mark. He scores the first basket with strong emphasis. That's an exclamation mark. And remember, an exclamation point, that the first letter of every sentence is always capitalized. Proofreader's guide, subjects and subjects and verbs that agree. We want to make sure that the subject and the verb agree with each other. In every sentence, the subject must agree with the verb. If the subject names one person, place, or thing, you usually add S to the verb. So here's Ville, that's the name of somebody. If they laugh, they're one person. Ville laughs. The one place, the store, opens. A snake slithers. So these are all singular subjects. There's just one Ville, there's just one store, there's one snake. If the subject names more than one person, place, or thing, do not add S to the verb. So now we have two people. Ville and Annie laugh. The stores open. Snakes slither. So they've taken away the S at the end because there's more than one here. Ville and Annie laugh. The stores open. That would be like two stores. Snakes slither. So that the subject and the verb agree with each other. Let's see how we're doing here. So I want to just go back to one spot. The biggest, most important thing, and maybe this is easy for you, but capital letters and end marks. First of all, you know that when we read English, we start on this side and we go, let me get the right color here. When we read English, we start on this side over here and we go this way. And we read to the end, and then we go over here and we start again and we read to the end. And then we go down here and we read to the end. That's the way that we read English words. Also, when we start a sentence, this is a sentence if it has a capital letter here, a big one, and then an end point mark there, okay? That makes a sentence that's one sentence. It might be short, it might be long, it might only be 2 words, it might be 20 words. A sentence is one idea that from the beginning and the end. And it always tells you that the sentence is starting with a capital letter and ending with a endpoint. Whether these are the 3 endpoints right here, right? these. There are no other endpoints in English. A period, a question mark, and an exclamation point. Okay? And they do different things. Like I said, when you read a question, it goes up at the end. The word goes up at the end. So that helps to know when you're reading, when an idea begins and when an idea ends. And when you're writing in a paragraph, you might have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 sentences to make up a paragraph, one big complete thought. Okay. So we've read through a lot of different things here. Let's go through these homonyms again. I think that I'm sorry, homophones, not homonyms. Homophones. Let's go through those and just talk about these, because this is where English is kind of confusing. So you just have to memorize these. This is the past tense of eating. Steve ate. This is the number 8. So let's read this. Steve ate crackers for a snack. Steve has 8 blocks. So those are 2 different with the same homophones, the same sound. The wind blew my kite. My blue pants are too small. So this is the color blue. This is the wind that blew in the air. The girls buy seeds at the store. They buy them with money. And this is, I live by the park. I live near the park. So those 2 different meanings, the same sound. I wrote, Dear Nana. And when you write a letter, you write, Dear Timothy, Dear James, Dear Grandma, Dear Nana, Dear Sophia. And then we saw a deer in the woods. We saw a deer in the woods. So those are 2 different deer, aren't they? So those homophones, there are so many of them in English. Sometimes I think about it and I go, wow, there are so many words that sound the same. They're spelled different. They mean different things. Just memorizing those words. But there are a lot of rules that help to guide us too, which we started to look at down here with the S at the end for the singular and no S at the end for the plural. So anyway, this has been a lot in a lesson, I must say. But these are all things that you need to know if you are going to publish. If you're going to publish something, then you need to know these things. Publishing, remember, it just means that you're going to show someone else. You're going to show someone else. Sometimes people publish big things in a magazine. They show a lot of people. Sometimes we just give it to our teacher or our neighbors. Then we publish it just to show someone else. We want it to look its best. Want it to look its best. So, George, will you go over and blow out the candle? Don't get too close. There we go. Good job. Well, that ends that lesson, my dear friends. Goodbye. I said dear friends, just like the deer, didn't I? That was one of the homophones, dear. Goodbye, my friends. This is Timothy, your teacher, signing off. Thank you for a good lesson. Now I'm happier. You are smarter, and the whole world is a little bit smaller. Goodbye, goodbye.